Acknowledge me!
You just made the list!
I am the B-E-S-T.
I'm better than you, and you know it! Damn!
That guy. Hate that guy. All right. Welcome. Episode 2, Down Under the Mat. Welcome back to Madison Square Garage. Sitting around the pool table of relevancy. Once again, to my left, Mr. Daniel Danielson. To my right, the artist formerly known as Sexual Chocolate, Rowdy Roddy Reese.
Yeah.
And I am Booker Ted, your host here. Episode 2 of Down Under the Mat. And we'd just like to thank those of you who have watched our pilot episode and given us feedback. Thank you so much. Thank you for the love. And don't forget to obviously hit that subscribe button so you know when we have some more episodes coming up on the old U of Tube. But yeah, we wanted to start off by acknowledging and thanking those of you that have reached out and given us feedback on our first ever podcast. Obviously, you know, we need feedback from you guys because we're here to entertain you. So anything you guys want to share in the comments as to what you want to see, what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show, please don't be too harsh on me and my choice of NRL team.
Absolutely.
Do what you got to do.
We will constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Just not your facial hair.
Not abuse.
Oh, now we're getting personal, man. I'm gonna.
Look, it's moustache.
Do you know how long it took me to grow? Let's not even get to that.
17 years.
It was a long time. So obviously today we're going to talk more wrestling again, episode 2. That's what we're all about. And one of the pieces of feedback we did get, obviously, was the fact that you guys want to hear more about Australians in wrestling. So later on in the podcast, we are going to talk a little bit more specifically about some Aussie wrestlers that we think you should keep an eye on, and also Reese is actually going to give us a rundown about the Impact show that came out to Australia in the great town of Wagga. So nice they named it twice. So
As Americans like to say, Wagga Wagga.
Did they actually call it Wagga Wagga?
I call it
that's
that.
fine.
I call it that too, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You know what's even better? My best mate lives out there, and he lives in a suburb called Gobagumbalan.
in Wagga Wagga.
Not even a joke, man. We could do a whole podcast just on town names. You know, maybe let's put
Side podcast again.
Let's put that out there. All right, so we're going to start off by having a bit of a wrap up of the week with Raw and Smackdown, and then we're going to get on to the Australian stuff, and then we've actually got I've got a fun game for you guys at the end.
Looking forward to
a
it.
competition to test your knowledge. So looking forward to that one right at the end as well. So first thing I want to talk about obviously is Raw at the beginning of the week, and obviously Judgment Day. We had a little bit more going on with the story, and I want to get you guys, what was your feel on that whole segment? Because there was obviously more than one segment. And we're
Quietly, did you guys know that Judgment Day runs Raw?
no,
Oh, no.
You haven't been told?
no,
3 times per episode for the last 4 weeks?
no.
Yeah?
I
No.
thought Mammy run Raw.
I'd let me run my Raw, don't you worry about that.
Oh man,
Um,
demonetized.
I like the Judgment Day. I'm glad that they've now decided to go back to that JD McDonough will.
Yeah, okay.
They started that a couple of months ago, and then I don't want to say
It
it
was
directly
like 3
correlated when somebody else got back involved with creative, that he disappeared, and then now that person's gone again, that he's back on the scene. But maybe if you want to sort of start those kind of rumors. But I definitely think he's a good thing. I like the Finn and JD relationship and how that might put a twist or a dagger into the Judgment Day.
Yep.
Does JD then break up the JD? I think we talked about this last time.
Yeah.
Too much usage of the JD.
We love the old JD.
Not sponsored by JD, but anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty keen to see how that travels out.
Yep.
I like the tension that they're building between Priest and Balor, and that it's not on the nose.
Yep.
They're doing it subtly right now.
Yes.
And I know they keep having the arguments, and then Rhea keeps coming in, and they're all back on the same page. At the end of the thing, like you mentioning with the main event, how they slide the briefcase through.
I love that stuff.
It looks brilliant.
Yeah.
It really was.
The reoccurring briefcase thing, I'm really into that.
I think they're going to tease that over a while now, and I think
No,
that's
for
a good
sure.
way of doing it.
Oh, definitely.
So I'm fully on board. I would like to see, probably towards the end of this story, I think Finn turns. I think Finn goes out of the Judgment Day as the face,
Yeah.
and they kick him out, and they bring JD in to replace Finn, and then Finn versus JD is a match at WrestleMania or something along the lines.
What do you think, man? Because I'm very split on who's going to turn face here.
Like, I've been thinking to myself while watching Raw, as soon as they started teasing JD coming into Judgment Day, like having the segments with Finn Balor, just because of their history, I feel like Finn will bring in JD as like a bit of a bodyguard into Judgment Day, just for Finn. Like, those two can be cohorts while the other three do their thing. And I feel like JD starts like constantly talking to Finn, and like that's where the slow turn happens. And I feel like they both turn on Dom and Damian Priest, and then that's how Finn gets out of Judgment Day. Like, he'll come out as a face with JD McDonald.
As long as we're all in agreement, they can never turn Dom Mysterio face.
Oh,
I don't think it's possible.
He's a heel.
I think
really.
the only time you're ever going to see Dom finally turn face is going to be
When he
his
gets-
dad's retirement and redemption with his father. I think that's about the only time you'd see it, and even then, it's going to be tough. But if anyone could do it, it'd be Rey Mysterio.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair.
no, I look. My piece on it is I actually don't know who they're going to turn, because I kind of look at it and I can see pros and cons for both.
Yeah.
But I think this is where Papa H is actually doing a really good job with a lot of the storylines, where he's, and you said this to me off air before, you used the term not backing himself into a corner, which I think old Vinnie Mac used to do it to himself a lot, where it was very obvious where the storyline was going, whereas Trips likes to obviously keep a lot of doors open and likes to keep you questioning where's it going to go. And I think it's great that way, because you seriously want to keep watching, even though every time you get told Judgment Day run Raw, that's there's certainty in life, taxes, death, and the Judgment Day.
Rhea Ripley saying that they run Raw.
Yes. So
Yeah.
no, but I'm loving it. And that finished with the briefcase. Seriously, I laughed. I thought
It was such a slapstick moment.
By the way,
It was-
Finn sold it
the look-
too.
The look on Finn's face just
Yeah.
absolutely sold that segment.
yeah, brilliant.
It's fantastic.
And then obviously on the same show, we had the random tag match of what I'm calling Belle Flair versus
Wrong show.
is it the wrong show?
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Oh man, I'm
You're all
flying
over it
already.
Why is this?
I'm skipped ahead. It's because we just watched Smackdown. Come on, leave me alone.
Back to Raw, though.
Sorry, back to Raw.
I think you're talking about the women's tag team.
Yeah, no, I am. I was talking about tag teams, but the wrong ones.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
But can we? I don't know if you guys know a wrestler by the name of Piper Niven. Piper Niven. Have you heard of Piper Niven? Piper Niven. Piper Niven.
Love Piper Niven.
Piper Niven. Now, if you ask Piper Niven, Piper Niven.
Piper Niven.
Obviously has come in and forced herself to be
Come back.
Chelsea's
Thank God.
tag partner, and we heard her talk for the first time ever on TV. So
Maybe not the first time. Though.
no, it's the first time I've heard her, and that's all that matters.
Pretty sure she
weren't following properly when she was with Mandy Rose. Then
No,
was that on
was
NXT.
Mandy Rose? No, it was on Raw.
Was it?
Maybe I'm thinking of someone else, but Piper never. It was when
Where's
even
that
Marie
wrestling
came back.
fans?
Even Marie came back for a brief stint. Had
Yeah.
Piper Niven as her like little.
When she was doing it.
Clearly, top quality television that we all remember.
Oh, top quality.
Anyway, we heard her talk for the first time in a while, at least. And I just, what do we think? Piper Niven and Chelsea Green.
Oh, no, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I like it. I love the idea of the two Karens.
Yep.
And that Chelsea and Sonia played off of each other as Karens. I think that was really good. I kind of like the new mentality that they might now have with they've got the Karen that complains about everything, and then the muscle that just comes in and stops it.
Mm-hmm.
Because she can just bitch and moan about literally everything to anybody and just get in Adam Pearce and I want your manager and all that sort of stuff. And then someone can be like, no. And then Piper Niven just walks in and everyone goes, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I like that.
They need to protect her and play her as muscle.
Yeah,
They can bury her. They have to have her strong
Yeah.
to be the muscle for Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's real potential now that Piper Niven's come into it, and they're tag champs, where Chelsea Green can run her mouth, cause a whole bunch of trouble, but Piper Niven's the one.
Yeah, she hides behind her.
stops it all.
Yeah. Well, she kind of did with Sonia, right? So very similar, but
A little bit, but also Sonia.
Oh, don't.
Like she's
I
got
love
good
seeing
history,
her, man.
but like I don't feel like they've presented her as well as they could have.
Well, she's
trying.
set up for a great comeback, isn't she?
You look at the other people that have MMA background and how they presented them, Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Sonya Deville has MMA background as well.
Oh,
and
no,
it's
they've
kind of
always
just
the
like-
chance, man. Now this sets up for her to have a comeback. So, no, awesome. I think it's great. I think it's old Dewdrop, for artist formerly known as. That's coming up a lot, isn't it?
Dewdrop.
Piper Niven. I mean, she definitely can wrestle. Absolutely. Like seeing her in the ring, she is very, very good. And I think it's great that she's getting a chance up the card with those titles. And we'll wait and see if they really are cursed. I don't want to jinx it. Touch wood. Hopefully it all goes well for them. So we'll see who their first opponents will be and how
I
they
feel like, depending on how long Mummy holds the title, there's real potential to build Piper Niven up as a big threat. Like, let them do the tag team stint, build her up as a threat while they're doing that. They'll split their ways at some point, and then Piper can go on and face Rhea. Because some of the matches they had back in NXT UK were phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, good potential there.
Because you want to get Rhea versus Raquel at
Yeah.
WrestleMania, right? Is the ultimate goal. So you need to have someone in the meantime.
I feel like
that's
that'd be a
wrestle.
good option, but I feel like at this stage it's too far away. And they're doing it now.
Mhm.
How are they going to spread that out over the next
Oh,
week?
they're spreading other stuff, mate. Why can't they spread that too? All right. So next point of call was the making lemonade out of lemons. Becky.
Would you call that lemonade?
Well, double count out finish.
Uh,
Did anyone see that coming?
A little bit.
no.
I think I said last time that I agree why they put this match off SummerSlam to this show because it was in Canada. Give Trish a chance to have the match in front of a home crowd.
Mhm.
Not necessarily get cheered, but like have that big moment in Canada.
Yep.
Yeah.
Match was fine.
Yeah.
And the double count out finish sucked.
Yeah.
They
It just sort of came out of nowhere too. They didn't even film the referee counting. You just heard the bell.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, that's right. They do countouts when they choose to.
Like every backstage bit, there was a convenient crowd already separated by the security
Yeah,
guards when they went
yeah,
out there, so
yeah.
you knew where the spot was going to
They were
happen.
doing their job.
And then Zoe Stark showed up in a hoodie, and you're like, why'd you wear a hoodie and stuff? Like, you were banned from ringside. This is not ringside anymore.
Yeah,
You should just showed up and just kicked
And
your
then,
face
like-
going to.
I think Michael Cole started whinging about that. But
Yeah.
like, they're not at ringside anymore. The match is done.
Yeah.
She can do whatever she wants.
Correct.
Tell you what, hell of a bump by Becky on the merch stand. there.
Yeah, for sure.
And I did love the old throwing of the merch and Trish just
funny.
subtly advertising her own shirt. I think it was.
Yeah,
was that wrong?
Sure.
Trish had a separate.
I thought it was a Trish one. Well, I would pay attention.
Mate, I was watching.
This is the wrong show. That's
I was watching Raw while I was working, and I still noticed that.
Well, look, this is why
Yeah.
I'm the host and you guys are the experts. That's all I'm saying. But there might be
I'll
other
take-
times where
I'll take that as an utter win.
I mean, assumedly now this goes to a match of payback, right?
it's got
And
it.
they do it properly.
It's got it. Yeah.
Wasn't it? Didn't they announce Steel Cage at Payback?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. So, Cage.
And that'll keep.
And then that's
Stark
it.
out.
That's it. I don't want any more of this feud.
Agree.
Well, I guess the plan is obviously to get Zoe Stark up, right? That's
Like,
the ultimate.
this is
goal.
getting you to the point that Cody vs. Brock was before we got that promo package, and then they had a fantastic SummerSlam match.
Yep.
But I'm utterly over this feud. They dragged it out too long. I don't care that it's got Becky. No,
And I also feel that Trish is now less of a spectacle because she's been in the ring so many times. Like when she came back, she was so good because you hadn't seen her for ages and she hadn't been in the ring. And she was that, the legendary status that she come back to fight the newer stars.
the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. But now that she's done it 3 or 4 times, you're like, I'm not clamoring to see Trish in the ring again.
No,
So
okay.
get the match done and then take her away and then make her, if you want to keep her on TV, if she's got a contract, whatever, sure.
Manager.
Have her manage Zoe Stark. Let Zoe Stark do
That's all I'm
things.
saying.
Trish is just there.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. It definitely needs to wrap up in some way. And as you said, still have her involved. She still definitely is very watchable. And I don't mean that the way you're all thinking.
Oh, we thought it.
She's still very entertaining. And yeah, so they definitely can still have her on TV. But They need to wrap it up. They need to get Stark the rub first of all. Like she needs to get something out of it before they wrap it up. So we'll see how that goes. And then the other big moments on Raw was Imperium and Alpha Academy.
Yeah.
Two of the tag teams we spoke about last time that we're very excited about, and obviously we've got the feud now and the match coming up between Chad and Gunther.
Next week, Monday Night Raw for the Intercontinental Championship.
Exactly. So obviously we had Chad wrestling Giovanni Vinci and getting a pretty. It was actually, and once again, good win with the old suplex, German suplex, and that's definitely going to come into the story. I feel there's a lot being told around that German suplex, so I think it's going to hinge. It's going to be a catalyst to the ending of the match, whichever way it goes.
Especially
It's gonna
how
be
they
the suplex.
emphasized it after those two matches that they had, where Chad Gable got Gunther, gave him the German suplex, and that was like the pop of the segment.
Yep.
Just a lot of emphasis on that, so keep an eye out for it next week in the title match. And
I know they do
we'll
it
get some close finishes.
greasy no finish and a double count out, and then they go to a match of payback.
I mean, he's got to beat Honky Tonk. We said it last time. He's got to beat Honky Tonk. He's
But
got to beat the
also-
Elvis impersonator.
I don't think anybody else is being set up apart from Chad to take the title.
No.
So I think
Nope,
that
nope.
there's got to be a dodgy finish next week.
Yes.
Extend his feud longer.
Yep.
Give it to Payback, but I think Payback's 4 days before the record or something.
Yeah.
Like it's very close. So I think Gunther
Very
then has to retain, and then you can do it the next week.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um,
That's probably more than likely what's going to happen.
there'll be some screwy
It's-
finish with the other Imperium guys getting involved. Otis getting involved.
Let's think about what they're going to do for Survivor Series if we're going to get that SmackDown versus Raw thing like that, what they were doing for a few steady years.
I don't think they'll do that.
If they were,
I don't think
I
they will.
probably enjoy watching Gunther versus Rey Mysterio. United States versus
Okay.
IC champion.
I think they're well past that whole SmackDown versus Raw stuff. Because I mean, we've already had, and I'm jumping ahead again to the wrong show. We've already had people from other brands now turning up.
Mhm.
So I think that's a pretty big signal that, you know, the brand split's not really a brand split if you don't want it to be. So,
If no need it to be. Correct.
and we've done this every single time. Literally every time we've
And then
done
they
a
had that
brand
like
split.
special stipulation. 3 times a month, superstars can cross shows.
That's almost a good quiz question. Is what happened more, brand splits that were cancelled, or Big Show turning face, or heel,
turning
or
it.
turning,
Big Show turning. Yeah.
So, but then obviously the other match after Chad and Giovanni was Otis doing his gyration towards Gunther, the ring general,
Yep.
who now treats the announce table as his own personal stage, which I love how Michael Cole really doesn't
I
like.
think it's a good touch.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think it's awesome.
It's something different. Like
And you have to do something different, right? Because there's a lot of wrestlers doing the same thing. So
about Gunther, like his whole thing is the mat is sacred, and I feel like him not being in the ring unless it's for a match or something important. Now table's fine.
and he's standing up, head and shoulders above everyone, right? So it's also a symbol
It's
with
just
that.
yeah, I like it. It's a
Yeah.
touch.
And then obviously he beats Otis, even though Otis looks like he might somehow get a victory. But no, it wasn't. But that power bomb on him too, man.
Oh,
That
on Otis, fantastic.
And that was again brilliant because now you've built up Gunther with this power bomb where he can lift someone of Otis's size, and you've got Chad Gable with his German suplex where he can lift people as heavy as Braun Strowman, etc.
The War Raiders.
War Raiders,
Viking Raiders.
Viking Experience.
I feel like
Viking
that
2.0.
next week we'll get a near fall from the powerbomb.
Yep.
And a near fall from the German suplex.
You will. Yeah.
100%.
And
I want to see how they turn a powerbomb reversal into a German suplex all in one motion, mate. Do you reckon it's doable?
He could slip over the top
Oh, and then flip.
from the powerbomb, land behind it. German.
Or accidentally release him and then just get chopped to hell.
Oh,
I
see,
wanna see him-
I'm not sure Gunther could land the flip from a German.
No.
I don't think.
Not with Chad at his size.
Yeah.
And good
So,
reasons.
otherwise, that would be the.
Look, I am certain they're going to figure out an awesome match.
Yeah.
I am in no doubt that it's going to be absolutely amazing. So very, very excited for
A
that.
good match.
One thing we didn't put on the notes, we probably want to touch on just super quickly,
Yeah.
is how we mentioned the rebranding of Reese's Pieces Sexual Chocolate to Rowdy Roddy Reese. What about the rebranding of the RK the Glass Bros.
Well, no,
What are they calling it?
Oh, the Edinburghs. The Edinburghs. I forgot about that.
I'm not on board.
Can we just
Oh,
hurry up and turn
no.
through? Just
You know
turn
it's
through
going to
him.
turn.
I would,
You know, you can see what it's
100%. It's going to turn Drew.
What's wrong with that?
We need no, but like I just don't want it. The turn should have happened on the show.
I think
don't
the
want
reason
things
that I remembered this match,
I'm over Matt Riddle.
the only thing that reminded me of this when you guys started doing the Otis thing was the New Days. W. That's it.
Whoa.
Oh,
Tag team champions.
I think you like the New Day.
Something like the New Day.
Look out for the draft of best tag teams and stables. I think I know it. Reese is picking.
Mate, I have a Boodio shirt.
Oh, okay, there we go.
I think that'd be a good match next week. I don't think they turn Drew yet. I think this is like the other things. They let it go for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Eventually, Drew's going to turn. I hope that when he does turn on Riddle, it's when Orton returns.
Yeah.
And then,
And now you've touched on that, we have to touch on the other thing that wasn't on the show, but for anybody who is on social media, especially Instagram, and anyone who may follow Mr. Tommaso Ciampa.
yes.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Have you seen my friend?
Johnny Gargano?
Well, he never said the name, Reese, but I'm sure we
He
can.
says Johnny. So there's a video of him backstage looking for him, and then he goes,
Yeah, putting up all
Yeah.
flags.
but the one with have you seen the one with him and Riddle?
No.
So there's the one where he's got a ball up there, and Riddle walks over and goes, "Oh, you're missing your bro." And he's like, "Yeah, Johnny." And he goes, "I miss Randy." And he's like, "I miss Johnny, and I miss Randy, and I miss Johnny."
But I seriously, like, if Gargano comes back, I really want DIY back
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And I want them against Miz and Waller.
Maybe. Yeah, they might get there. I hope,
Miz and
Interesting.
Grey Miz? I don't know what they're going to call themselves. They'll come up with some.
I hope
The,
that
the
DIY
most
that.
must-see tag team
100%.
in wrestling.
The
I've
Miz
never seen it
effect.
stick.
The Miz effect.
Miz Effect. He won't change the name of his chat show.
No, but that's the tag team.
The Miz Effect. Yeah, that'll work. I want to see them wrestle anyway. I think that'll be a good feud.
As long as DIY back does more for Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae getting squashed by Rhea Ripley, I'm happy for it.
Yeah. So, can we move on to the other show that I skipped to before?
We certainly can.
Smackdown. Is that okay? Oh, we've changed the light. That's beautiful.
What's it, bro? Is there a
Beautiful.
blue?
There's
Oh, that's okay. There we go. That works. That's beautiful. So, first segment of SmackDown was speaking of Grey Miz, Miz Grey, is the Grayson Waller effect. Was on the start of the show, and the guests were Rey Mysterio and Mr. Santos Escobar, everybody's favorite. Oh, yeah, that's a bit harsh, but you're right. And obviously, they're still trying to give him the rub, and he did the whole my mentor, da da da. And we all know that the Toronto crowd is always got a reputation for being quite receptive. So I think they got a reception that they would get there that they might not get anywhere else. But you know, they're still trying. Fair enough. They're not giving up on it.
I really enjoyed the fact that Grayson Waller just cut shit and was like, "Shouldn't you be mad, Ray? Like, he was your mentor." But he took the match. He took your title.
He's
Like-
pushing the buttons, and that's his
But that's,
job, right?
and every time he's been on the Grayson Waller, even when he was with Asuka, like, he was just poking everybody.
Poking buttons. Yeah.
Perfect. He's doing such a good job.
And that's
I
what
feel like he's doing it better than Miz used to.
I think he's
I don't feel like the way that Miz used to come around was like, it was just very subtle, just like.
And
touching
isn't
back
that a
and-
great premise for them to have a tag team, let them be together for quite a while, and then down the line, there's your breakup. Who's got the best chat show?
Yeah.
Right? Come on. It's better than a hair versus hair match, surely. Or fighting over a shampoo commercial for anyone who remembers that. Edge versus Booker T. Look it up.
Oh, man.
They literally had a match. Oh, dude, we're talking 2004, maybe 2005. They had a match. Literally, the stipulation was whoever won got to star in a shampoo commercial. Not even a joke. But then obviously interrupted by Mr. Austin Theory, A-Town Down himself, comes out, and obviously he has his rematch clause as the champion.
Do they still have that?
Well, it's kind of just an assumed thing, isn't it?
It's an assumed thing, but it doesn't always happen.
I thought it was gone because Asuka hasn't even shown up for her rematch.
I think they play it when they want to, when it suits.
When it suits it.
When it suits.
Does this suit them? Yeah,
Do
correct.
we-
Well, if we continue on with what happened, we can maybe discuss it a little bit more because then obviously we got a real pop when Mr. L.A. Knight, yeah, came on out to again massive pop. He's getting the biggest pops I've seen since Mr. Stone Cold Steve Austin. And
Because he looks very much like him in his vest.
I know, right? Well, that's he's a mixture of rock and Stone Cold, and I don't care. I think that's awesome.
There's a guy that I watch on TikTok who actually refers to him as Stone Rocks.
Stone Rocks.
Stone Rocks, because he's a bit of a mix of the both. He's
Okay.
like Austin, he's getting those pops. And he's got the
Is he
charisma.
referring to his
Come on.
testicular fortitude as Mr. Ford used to
He's
say?
grapefruits.
Yeah,
100%.
he's Stone Rocks.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty good. So
Convenience that he's going up against the Miz then, because we all know the Miz has tiny balls.
exactly.
He's
Hey,
got tiny balls.
sign us WWE. It just comes straight out of our brains, out of our mouths. Ask my partner. She says that to me all the time. No filter.
The tiny balls straight out of your mouth.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Dan, it's 2023, mate. Don't shame. Don't shame. We love the rainbow.
Size does matter.
It does. It does. They're lying if they say it doesn't. So, and what I'm also loving actually a lot lately is and I have mentioned this before to you guys, is the fact that Adam Pearce is now actually getting a lot more involved in this whole, let's set that match, let's do this. Because I think that's something that we've missed with the
official.
correct, the old commissioner GM role that we used to have back in the day. I think they're starting to realize, hey, he can play a bit more of a part in that. And
I
obviously,
think he does it fantastically.
yes, and this made a good match, but I think the problem that we had was it would have been a good match until old mate Miz, who's not even from SmackDown, turned up, and I think that sort of gave away
Yeah, that he was winning.
the way the match was going to go.
Yeah.
So obviously gets screwed over by Miz. Austin Theory wins. He's going to get a rematch for the US title against Ray. I think my main problem with this again, and it's more based around Austin Theory. He seems to be a side note in this story because the biggest story is LA Knight and Miz, which, to be honest, I'm super looking forward to. Their promo battle the other week was amazing and really hyped me up for them to have a match. I'm not caring that Austin Theory has a rematch against Ray. I really don't.
And I also feel that recently, since he's been champion, Theory's been shackled a fair bit.
Yeah.
When he was in NXT, he had a much broader moveset. He was a lot more flippy. He was off top rope and stuff a whole bunch.
Also had a lot more character.
Absolutely, he had way more character. Was he was with DIY down in NXT?
No, not DIY, with The Way.
The Way, sorry, yeah, The Way, yeah. Same guys. And I think he definitely had more range and more moveset, and he was a bit more entertaining down there. And then when he came up and Vince took him under his wing, they've kind of shackled what he is. And I think he has all the talent in the world. He's clearly got a very good physique. He's got a really good look as a wrestler. They're just not giving him the freedom to do what he needs to do. And no one's buying into him.
No.
Either as the champion or as a chicken shit heel. Like, we're just not buying into him as a character. And I think they need to take him away, reinvent him, and put him back out there so that we can get behind him. And like you said with this Ray match, I didn't really want to see Ray as the US champion. I didn't want to see Santos as the champion, but I get why they were doing it.
Yeah.
Now that you're giving me Ray versus Austin Theory again, I'm like, I just don't care.
No.
I don't.
Like, I remember watching Austin Theory way back. WWE just bought the rights to Evolve Wrestling, and they did like a special show where past Evolve wrestlers that were now on NXT, they did like a cross-brand thing. And I remember seeing Austin Theory on that for the first time and thought, this kid's going to be a future star, 100%. Then he got signed to NXT, I was like, here we go. And now that he's up on the main roster, it's just...
He's got all the potential in the world, man. We said this last
just
time,
like,
right?
everything's just flopping at the moment.
Yeah, and I don't know how you fix it. I mean, there's you've got the obvious stuff, right? You've got put him with someone, put him in a stable, but where do you put him? Who do you put him with? I mean, we have seen recently, I know he hasn't come back yet, but obviously Corbin went back down to NXT, and I know I've seen a lot. He's doing quite well down there, and he's starting to build up again.
Watching all of it, but
Finn
When
Balor
things
even
are
went down there for a bit and came back even more strong than when he was there originally. Maybe he needs to go back to NXT and dominate for a bit down there and then come back again. I don't know, but something needs to happen because he's not ready for any other titles. To be honest with you, maybe a tag team partner and go for tag team gold. Maybe that might be an option. But once again, who do you partner with?
Yeah,
that's the
I think
biggest problem.
the smartest thing that the WWE needs to do is get the WWE title away from that matchup and everything. Either
The US title, even.
that's what I meant. Yep, the US title.
Well, it's a WWE title.
Sorry, I stand corrected. I keep getting corrected, man. I just should shut up.
You either need to really run hard with the LWO thing and just fully push them and actually have them win a whole bunch of stuff and eventually do the Santos versus Ray thing, which is what they're going to try and do.
Yeah.
Or you give it to LA Knight and just let him run with the title for a while. It has to be done. The crowd wants it. We're all yelling for it. Let's just move it away from Austin Theory and just see what happens.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It's probably the weakest storyline at the moment in WWE.
It's around a title, it is.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot because next conversation is around what I skipped to earlier before.
Yes.
The tag team I like to call Bel Flair, insert laughing track here, against Damage Control. Again, bit of a weird, there was no explanation as to why Charlotte and Bianca were teamed up. It's just there, it's just on the card.
Because they both,
SmackDown's usually the good show as well. Like they usually put some sort of story into any sort of match that they're doing.
Yeah.
But this is just like thrown together, and nobody wants to see Belair and Flair team.
Well, as long as there's a reason behind it, you know, even if you just have a backstage segment where something happens and Adam Pearce teams them up, but something, you can't just chuck them together for no reason.
but
Like, it
they're
just doesn't
both
make any
baby
sense.
faces and Damage Control are both heels. So
Oh, that
makes
makes
sense.
it okay.
Yeah.
Not okay.
No. Look, the match was fine.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Bailey took the pin and not Io, because I don't think Io deserves it right now because they're not building her as the champion, a credible champion at all. Like for her to be thrown into these segments and stuff and losing, it's not a good way to give her a rub as the champion.
No.
The post-match stuff where they beat down Bianca and they did the concerto on her knee and you assume now they'd write Bianca out for a while. Cool, good. My only problem with that is that now means that you've probably got Charlotte versus Io is the feud that's going to come together because she's going to defend her friend who's been injured.
Charlotte's going to break her dad's record. We've been talking about this.
Well, I mean, there's rumors on the internet around why Charlotte's now wrestling more than we thought. We thought she was taking some time off. She's not.
No, well, I think maybe initially she might have been, and then plans changed pretty quickly because obviously the rumors are online that Andrade and Charlotte are in Splitsville and on the way to a divorce, which is obviously no fun. So don't really want to joke about it too much, Dan. I know
You do know that, like, the way that everybody knows that happens is when they unfollow each other on Twitter.
well,
So,
exactly. They made it pretty obvious when they unfollow them. But you know, it is what it is when you live in the spotlight like that as a celebrity. No matter what you do, it's you know the world's going to find out. So. Look, I know I said on the last episode I'm sick to death of Charlotte, but I really do hope that whatever's happening, you know, goes
Oh, for sure.
goes in a good way and it gets sorted, and you know she can get on with what she needs to do. And I mean, as we said, it is just rumors. You never know; it could be something else that might not actually be true. It's very early on. It's all very tabloidy at this point.
So I think that this probably leads to a Charlotte Neo feud or Charlotte Neo match.
I feel like that could be a good feud, good
It
match.
could be, as long as they let them go. And I
Yeah.
think that that's probably a good thing too, to delay any tension between her and Bailey and breaking up Damage Control. I want to keep them together for a while.
For sure, they're just hitting their stride now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Don't break them up. Keep them going. There was though the re-signing of her former partner Kairi Sane back to WWE.
That could be another JD McDonough situation.
Correct.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
I like
Yeah,
that.
like
And you still got Asuka, who is around just
Yeah.
put all three of them together. Everyone would want to see that. Everyone would want to see
And they created Women's Trios Championship.
No,
No, let's not do that.
but like I will admit I would actually be excited for a Charlotte versus Io feud.
Yeah.
Because the work that they did in NXT together when Charlotte got her second run after being Rhea for the NXT Championship, the match that they had with Rhea Ripley was utterly fantastic. Io got the win, beat Charlotte for the title.
Yeah.
I think she pinned Rhea. But reigniting that feud, and then we don't want it to happen, but knowing WWE, they'll do the title switch. Charlotte will get it.
Yeah.
And build to that later on.
Yeah.
My only problem, and it's what you touched on before, Ted, was that it seems like for some reason that the champion is never the centerpiece of these feuds, especially on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Asuka was absolutely the third wheel in their match.
Yep.
Io seems like this isn't about her; it's more around Charlotte and Bianca right now. As long as they do that and it's a feud with Charlotte, that's fine. But they've got to put the appropriate spotlight on Io, give her her shine, give her her time. I'm fine, but I just don't want it to all be around Charlotte.
No, very true. But I mean, it looked like they were going down that road too when Io had that match with Oscar.
Yeah.
That was a superb match. Like, it was brilliant. In terms of technical work, it's probably one of the best. And, you know, if you think about it, I would put it up there that if it was at WrestleMania like the Charlotte Rhea match, they would be talking about it like that match. But it wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
It was on a different show. So, but yeah, look, exciting stuff. As you said, hopefully they can start making the titles the centerpieces of these stories again, because it is getting a little bit rough. Because again, we, you know, and we can touch on it right now. It's skipping ahead a little bit, but pretty much nothing about the Bloodline on this show. We had a Paul Heyman backstage promo,
Which was not his best one.
very odd. It
Yeah.
didn't. It was just ramblings. Reminded me of myself in the mirror a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. That's really stretching it thin. I don't know if we should really talk about it too much more, because really nothing happened.
Yeah, there's
Anyone who
nothing
saw
to
it,
talk about.
nothing happened. So no one was there except for Heyman. I guess they're all taking a holiday, right? Maybe they're going back to Samoa to visit family. I don't know.
The positive thing for WWE is that they didn't need the Bloodline this week. They had a main event segment for 35 minutes that was well worth the time.
But does that show that the Bloodline story is getting a little?
Oh, maybe it's just
because
very
if you don't need it on there and people don't really care.
Once in 25 years, you get 25-year anniversary of Edge in Canada.
Oh, we'll get.
Perfect time.
We've got a little bit more to talk about, but we're going to get there.
Okay.
Because obviously, and you need to talk about this mainly, Dan, because I know you're a pretty big fan of these guys. There's obviously the artist formerly known as Street Profits, now part of the Hurt business.
I still call them the Street
They
Profits.
still call them that?
Yeah,
They haven't changed them yet.
No, they haven't officially cemented it as a Hurt business
Oh,
yet.
okay. I thought maybe they had.
It's
I thought they
coming.
were down
It's
under.
coming.
Okay. Well,
It's coming.
let's just the Street Profits with Mr. Bobby Lashley. Had a tag match against the OC.
They squashed the OC.
Yep.
They came out in dark tights and singlets and stuff. And they still had the red cups.
Yep.
They still had the music. They were still trying to pump up the crowd.
You
But
watch
then,
Bobby get him.
yeah, Bobby will get them.
I love Bobby. Can I just go in here? I love Bobby Lashley.
Big Bob.
Oh,
I've
love him.
always loved Bobby Lashley ever since he came in.
I met him when he came to Australia for the Super Showdown.
You did not.
Yeah. So we were at Crown Casino, and
I hate you.
he was at the casino the night before the
Oh, you told me this. He was at the blackjack table.
blackjack tables, and people were going and saying hi to him, and I didn't really want to interrupt too much, but I was like, I can't not say hi to Bobby Lashley. I said, hey mate, congratulations. And he stood up from the table and Dad said he's the biggest human I've ever seen.
Blocked out all the lights.
Just like, I'm not a small guy. I'm short, but I'm not small. He was twice my size, so tall. Lovely bloke, though. Like, just absolute
That's so
weapon.
Did you get a photo with him?
No, I wasn't going to. No.
When you're in situations like that, man, they get hit up all the time. Like, you feel bad, right? You don't really want to ask them for a phone.
These are WWE stars. These are like
Oh, yeah, they know
even the crop.
Yeah.
Always rises to the top.
No, I have that little personal memory myself. And yeah, he's a really nice human and a gigantic man.
Great man to team up with the Street Profits. I know the Street Profits lost a little bit of momentum there. Last year and probably year before too, they actually had quite a lot of momentum there, especially with the matches they were having with the Usos.
Yeah.
And it sort of just obviously dropped off a little bit with Sammy and KO sort of taking that spot against the Usos, which, you know, you can't deny was a good choice. It's gone
There was
super
no
well.
other choice to make.
But Street Profits, we know they've got a lot of talent. They've still got quite a bit of popularity. And yeah, Bobby Lashley, mate, I think he can do great things with them.
Yeah.
So very excited to see where that goes as well. So trying to keep a bit more positive talk
No,
in
it's
this
fine.
episode. See, I'm keeping positive, man.
And positive.
And speaking of positive, the next and final match of the show.
Of the show of the career.
Wow. Edge versus Sheamus. Absolutely fantastic match. If you haven't watched it yet, I have to tell you, go and watch it.
Yeah.
You're giving yourself away, mate. Absolutely brilliant. And you're going to get spoilers here because we have to talk about the result.
That's
So
fine. I can accept that.
you can't skip ahead in the video. So
It's going to be good.
for those of you who don't know, Edge won. But it was played out very much so like it was his final time in the squared circle.
I don't agree with that, but I can see why you would say it.
There's a lot of chatter online.
There's definitely a lot.
There's a lot.
But like, what antics happened after the match that made?
So
Not enough, and that is my statement.
okay, so first of all, a lot of fireworks. Him and Sheamus had a really big hug. And that's it. To be honest, Dan's right. There wasn't a whole lot.
They did pyro when he won.
Yeah, man. Which is not very common for a SmackDown.
But it's his 25-year anniversary.
Correct.
So
It's an
that's
anniversary
what
show.
he did.
It's in Toronto.
Yeah.
He was dressed to the nines as a Torontoan.
Toronto Maple
They
Leafs,
had a
yeah.
specific shirt that was only available at that stadium, at that show, at that time, that you cannot buy online.
They used to do that with the Suplex City shirts.
Yeah, so they've done that now, but most of the stuff we've seen online is all thank you, Edge. Thank you for your time.
Booker Ted is on the side of the fence that this was his last match. He's retired.
And I'll explain why.
I am on the side of the fence that this is his last match under his current contract. And he has said that so far is that he legitimately doesn't know, is he going to have another match? This was the last match on his current contract. I don't
Wait, so
think
his contract's up.
his contract's up.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
His in-ring contract, we've sort of agreed on that.
Yeah.
At least his in-ring contract is up.
I think the match was fantastic. I think the way that to talk about the actual booking of the match, Triple H said, hey, Sheamus and Edge, I trust both you guys, you're really good.
You've got 30 minutes.
It's half an hour.
Yeah.
Do we want? And it was fantastic. They built a really good story into it. They never really tried to turn Sheamus heel in it or anything like that, like make him as the bad guy. They were just two guys having a match, wanting to win.
But I like how it slowly built to that frustration of Sheamus being like, well, I'm going to have to beat the crap out of my
And
friend.
I told you
in
like
this
this.
match.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. Like, they really did that. Because at the start, they shook the hands. It was a nice slow start. And then you had Edge powerbombing him onto the floor outside.
Spearing him through the rope.
Spearing through the ropes. Like, it got, and you could see that frustration of Sheamus. But I think he did well to not.
Sorry.
Good on you.
We weren't talking to you.
I think he did really well to get frustrated, but as you said, not turn heel. I think I really think that's probably one of the best matches I've ever seen Sheamus have.
It was really good. And the false finishes were great because
0.999999999999999.
But the other thing
seconds.
why I liked them so much was that they weren't the cheap spot false finishes in that, like, oh, he hit the bro kick, cover. It was move, bro kick, cover. It was sock broke suplex, execution, cover. Like, they were legitimate. This would have finished a match before.
Yeah.
You could believe either way they take this pin and they kicked out. It was really, really.
This is one of the reasons why I think it might actually be his last match, because it was pay-per-view quality on a SmackDown taping, right? Or SmackDown Live, I should say, not taping, but on SmackDown Live, which you don't see that very often these days. I know it happened a bit more back in the day where they'd have a match that was of a sort of pay-per-view quality, but they really don't do that anymore. And then I think the other thing for me that makes me really think that this is it, and I know you said it, right? It wasn't a massive farewell. There wasn't really that much of it. That's because they've already done it. Remember when he retired, right? The first time, 2 farewell episodes, because they did one on both shows, SmackDown and Raw. And I don't know if you guys have watched it, but I've watched it back a few times online. And, you think that, you think The Notebook's a sad movie, man, go watch Edge's retirement, I'm telling you, and then watch his return at the Rumble. And that's why I think it is, because they don't need to do a massive farewell. He's already had one. He's already a Hall of Famer. He's already gone through all that. Like, it'd be a bit weird if you did that all again when he's already done.
But WWE loves money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, but there's...
Let's keep a keen eye on All In at Wembley Stadium.
Please, not showing.
Yes.
So kid yourself.
Yes.
Oh,
No way.
mate, I'm on your train here, man.
Why?
Because his mate
His
tweets
best
not going to
friend-
go there anymore.
His best friend works in AEW. Why wouldn't he go there?
Because his best friend's too busy with Luchasaurus.
We're gonna touch on that again in a minute, I think. All right, but I think we can agree. Awesome match.
Fantastic.
Go watch it. It is an instant classic. Absolutely brilliant. And I'll tell you what, if it is his last match, I'd actually be pretty excited about myself.
It was.
In terms of the actual match itself. Sorry, no, you've got something to say.
We're kind of at, like, we've got one apiece for not retiring, leaving WWE. Let's keep it an ear out for the next episode and I'll give my verdict.
Oh, you
No,
can
no,
consider it for a week.
we're gonna talk about it in a second, because we are actually gonna now. We're done talking about WWE with SmackDown, and we are going to touch on AEW because there's a lot of news that's come out in the last 24 hours. Obviously, Reese, you actually broke to us in the early hours about the.
When was it? Like 5:30?
Oh, it was early, man.
I was up early.
It was early.
Absolutely.
But the arrest of Mr. Dash Wheeler,
Yeah.
apparently accused of assault
Aggravated assault with a
firearm,
So,
which is very interesting. No other details as of yet, but obviously the big
some
thing,
details.
the big thing with that is how it affects the all-in card. But what other details have come out?
So
far?
later today, I did find an article. Well, earlier today from now, I did find an article and had to read through. Apparently, he was pointing a gun at someone and yelling at them through the window
Okay.
of his car.
Yeah.
But that's all I've got at the moment.
So
I didn't
Well,
read too much.
yeah, from what I've heard about it, it happened late July.
Oh, so it's happened a while
so it
ago.
was-
It's
it
only
was a
just
while
been
ago.
right.
He
Okay.
was brought forward 4th of August, I believe, and then summoned to appear. But then he didn't need to appear. He sent his lawyer on his behalf, and so that was when that part of the court stuff happened. And then he only got arrested yesterday,
Right.
and he was incarcerated. So that's when AEW had to release a statement because he's gone to jail for it. He hasn't been formally charged. So the thing with him is right now is if he doesn't get charged, his visa will be fine. He can travel to the UK. If he gets charged for a firearms offence, then he probably can't leave the country. He can't go to all these.
So can I just reiterate, where is AEW's HR department? Because if this happened back in July, and
July was only like 3 weeks.
yeah, but still, man, like they've announced matches since then. If they already knew, if they're doing their job, you wouldn't put him on the card, would you?
Yeah, they should have waited to announce that CMFTR match.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Because now they've, they could really
Now
put their
it's
foot in it,
different.
right? Like
Which is
it's
like that's going to be one of their big drawing matches for the card.
they don't have a HR department. I'm certain.
No, it doesn't.
Well, I mean,
They have
speaking
a
of,
hot dog department.
Oh, that's important.
speaking of the AEW HR department and lack thereof, CM Punk.
Oh man, there's some controversies. There's some controversies.
So I'm not going to go into it
Oh.
too much because there's a lot if you want to talk about it. But there's been so many things the last couple of weeks from about CM Punk, and him being back on Collision. The stuff that he did with Hangman Page. Did you guys see that from last weekend?
Yes, I did.
Didn't see it. Did read about it.
So after the ending of the taping, he then ripped Hangman Page to shreds, not knowing that Hangman Page was meant to be in the building, supposedly. It was all a shoot. He was just making a lighthearted joke about it that nobody took it as a joke. And then we've obviously heard stuff where people are, they created Collision on a Saturday so that he was away from the Elite and everybody on a Wednesday because they couldn't coexist. But now there's even more stories that people are not allowed to go into Collision in the building. They're getting sent home because CM Punk is there. It even impacted ROH because ROH normally tapes their shows after the Collision taping on a Saturday, but they had to move that to Wednesday this week because Colt Cabana was on the ROH tapings, so he couldn't be anywhere near CM. They're literally moving
Guys.
entire tapings of wrestling products just because of CM Punk.
HR,
When
HR department, where are you?
do we get to the point where we just say, can CM Punk just go on? Like,
I love CM.
Well, this is the big problem, right? Is that
This is the-
yes,
the
yes,
drama
you,
for him first.
you're right.
Yeah.
The biggest problem he's got is CM Punk's obviously on a massive, massive contract, and Tony Khan knows that by having him on there and having controversy is better than him paying out his contract. He needs to get stuff out of him because I'm sure it's going to be a massive payout if he just lets him walk away. So he's trying to get as much out of him as
to
possible.
be fair, his return made me feel.
Oh, dude.
Oh, his money and his clicks. Like he's getting eyes on the product. I don't know what to ask.
So can I go back to the Hackman Page bit for a minute? Because I didn't actually see the original bit where he did it, but I saw a TikTok video where someone actually, what do they call it? I can't even think of the word now. They stitch it.
Yeah.
And it was someone walking into a Walmart and going to the toy section, and they had all the figurines on the hooks, and the only ones that were there all left on the hooks were Adam Page, which I hate, man, because I think he's a good wrestler. I love him,
So
but
good.
yeah, I wish they'd get along because I think him and Hangman would have some great matches if they just could get along.
Hangman's title run was abysmal. It should have been so much better.
It should have been the match against Kenny Omega to win the title.
Yeah.
One of the best I've ever watched.
Yeah,
One of the best. I love that match, and I would go back and watch it. And finding out afterwards that Omega was injured while doing it, it's just even more props to him. But yeah, I rate him as a wrestler. I think the biggest problem is his promo and his talk. Let's be honest, the voice doesn't fit the character. I don't want to.
Right.
I don't want to be mean. I don't want to make fun, but it just doesn't. So I think that's where his big problem lies. And obviously, you know, his association with the elite, CM Punk's not a big fan of that.
No,
So
but Hangman Page is one of the ones that's not included in all those documents. So CM Punk and him can go to town on each other.
right. You know what? There's a part of me that's really just hoping against hope that this is all a work.
It's absolutely not a word.
I know, but imagine if it was, man. Oh my God. What
Tony Khan, he did it again.
Booker of the Year, Dave Meltzer. He's legit.
So, all right. Speaking of the booking, we kind of touched on it quickly with the All In stuff.
Mhm.
There's a lot of conjecture around that card and what they've done with it. Obviously, the stuff that might not happen with Dash Wheeler and FTR is a problem. I'm super keen to see it. 80,000 people in Wembley is going to be pretty cool to see what they do with it. I like the MJF and Adam Cole main event. I like the way they built to that.
I like
this
the fact they're
sick promo.
doing the kickoff
As well.
with
with
the
Aussie Open.
tag titles. That's really good. I think, like, we saw on Dynamite this week, Adam Cole teased the turn.
Yes. And
I feel like something is going to happen in that tag match, whether it's accidental or it's on purpose. Something's going to happen, and that's going to build tension to that title match.
Possibly.
The main event.
I think that they can do what Edge and Sheamus did in the main event. Is just have a shake hands and a really sick match, and then we go back to the way we were and no one really turns on anyone just yet, and we hold it longer.
MJF won't shake hands, man. Come
At the moment, that's money,
hug,
right?
because they're broskies.
on. Yeah, true. Hug, maybe.
MJF and Adam Cole, that is money right now. They really should keep that going as well.
I love the way that they're teasing to do a kangaroo kick to meet the Aussie Open. Like, they're going to win with the double clothesline or a kangaroo kick. It's so fun. What I do want to touch on with the card, right?
Give him the drop bear.
Does he mean a big boot? Are they going to do?
I don't know.
Or is he not?
He was in this thing like all crouched down, ready to do like a kangaroo.
Mate, if MJF comes out with the big boot from the Simpsons episode, mate,
You can buy
mate, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
And if old mate, because there's the guy who always turns up at the WWE pay-per-views who has the flag.
Yeah.
You need to get to All In at Wembley, mate. And we need that.
Get rid of
MJF,
life savings.
get the boot, go. Right? Now, you touched on something that we were going to touch on before about the card at All In. And
Yes.
we're going to talk about it now because I think Reese and I are on the same page with this.
Okay.
Because someone's in-ring contract at WWE just ended.
God. It's not.
And his best buddy.
Let me admit, it's
a stretch.
100%.
It's a stretch.
It's a stretch. It's a bit of a pipe dream at the moment. But could you imagine the pop?
Huge.
How much more attention AEW is going to get from that?
Oh, totally. But could you also think that Tony Khan would be able to hide the fact that he's taking Edge to London? No way. They would have to. They would absolutely want to try and
To be
advertise
fair,
the crap.
like when we can't remember. This is really bad. Can't remember what pay-per-view it was.
Yeah.
But when Brian Danielson and Adam Cole.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I mean they've kept some
They kept that
secrets.
pretty well. I'm sure they can pull it off the edge.
We've already talked about how bad the HR department is and how much the wrestlers
It's not existent. It's not how bad it is. It doesn't exist, mate.
they run the zoo.
Hot dog refund.
Could you imagine how pissed you'd be if you're Kenny Omega and you're, I don't want to say reduced to a trios match, but you don't get a singles match at All In London,
That's
and you're Kenny Omega, and they decide to bring Edge back.
But maybe
No,
that's
it's not. He doesn't have to have a match. An appearance.
yeah. But I guess look, this is again, this is a problem I think that stems from being an EVP, right? Is that he knows and they know now that inserting themselves into things gets people going, oh well, they got that because they're an EVP. So I think he's actually trying to counteract that and go, look, I'm not going to book myself
Yeah, okay.
into everything. I've got to realize that I'm also just part of the team, and sometimes I've got to be mid card, you know, and not have a singles match. I think that's what's at play here, to be honest.
Possibly, because
Especially with all the stuff that's happened with CM Punk and brought it all to light, right?
they've copped a bunch of injuries with like Pac and stuff that they were going to get over there, but they're not going to get. And from watching Dynamite, all the parts of it that I did watch this week, I saw the Jericho and Callis thing and his turn, and now it's Ospreay
was
versus
like-
Jericho.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the highlights. I caught some TikTok videos that Jericho was uploading on his page.
Yeah.
And I saw the whole, am I going to join Don Callis' thing? And then I saw it. He did. Then the next video I saw about it was that they turned on him, and I was just like, in one show, why?
So there was a painting. So what it was that Don Callis had already
missed
had a
that.
painting done with him pulling Jericho's head off, assuming Jericho was going to say no, and Jericho ended up saying yes, and then he was like, "Oh, sweet, let's get out of the ring." And Jericho said, "No, what's this thing you did for me, guys? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let's keep going."
I'm going to try and catch up on all this stuff.
It wasn't great.
Look, it's hard watching a lot of wrestling.
I just think that a Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho match at All In London is the match that Chris Jericho wants and nobody else does. I would much prefer to see Will Ospreay against
I feel,
legitimately anyone else.
I feel like Chris Jericho wants it because Will Ospreay will make him look like a.
Absolutely will. 100%. But
The way
Will Ospreay,
Jericho's been going lately, like I've watched highlights of his matches, and it's just
they're not great.
it's
You know
almost
what?
time to call it, man.
I think
Take
we
it
should
down.
ask our viewers, put some comments in there. Let us know what you think. What do you think of the matches that have been announced so far? And what do you think? What matches would you like to see? And do you think that there'll be a sneaky appearance?
You did
Why?
tell that voice. You did
Ignore
tell
that.
Why?
Chris Jericho needs to call it time. That's
Yeah,
the money question.
Yeah, it's interesting. But let's hear your comments. Are you excited for it? Let us know what matches you're looking forward to, and what else you might want to talk about. Maybe we can try and talk about something else other than CM Punk and the Elite at AEW. And if you guys want to hear about it, let us know in the comments. But as stated earlier on, we're now going to jump into a segment where we're going to have a bit more of a focus now on Australian wrestling. So that was something that was asked for. So what we're going to jump into is, first of all, Dan and myself, we're actually going to speak about our favourite Australian wrestlers to sort of keep an eye out for at this time. And then, well, this is where you're going to get the floor, Reese, because we would like you to...
No, I want to talk about my favorite.
Well, you can, but what we need you to
Yeah.
let us all know was the amazing Impact event
Yes.
in Wagga. So we'll end on that for our Australian segment. I'd love to hear.
Sounds
I saw some pics, man. They look great. I'm very jealous that I didn't get to go, but
Front row. I got front row to an Impact show.
lucky man.
Chuffed.
So, Daniel,
Yes. So we also decided with this segment too is we're going to try and pick Aussie wrestlers,
yes.
local wrestlers,
Yes.
around the Australian League. Because I'm not going to talk about Bronze Arena Rhea Ripley because
Well, she'd be the first option, obviously, if we're going to talk about the
everyone
best.
wants to talk about
Australians,
Armani.
right?
So the guy I'm going to have a chat about is Robbie Eagles. So he's an Australian wrestler. He's from Sydney. He has travelled around the world and wrestled a whole bunch in New Japan and everything like that. He's wrestled all across Australia and Melbourne City Pro Wrestling, Slam. He was in Canberra. He's coming back to Canberra in December.
Yes.
December
Looking
16th,
forward
I
to
think
that.
it is.
December 16th at the Convention Centre.
Convention Centre. Big money show.
Big money show for Slam. Be really cool to see him. I've seen him a couple of times. I've watched some of his stuff from New Japan. I've watched his matches where he's had things against Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay, a whole bunch of those. He is phenomenal. Sniper of the Skies. His stuff with your friend you're to at Slex matches they've had as part of what is it? TMDK, the Mighty Don't Kneel
Correct.
in New Japan, are really, really good. And I actually got a chance to sort of say hi to him and have a little chat to him at Knotfest that we were at.
Yeah.
So-
So he's wrestling there. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know how to wrestle. I didn't know
Rich was there with me.
Run into
Oh,
So for some context, and I'll tell you this
mansplaining over here.
Dan's little story time. So I went to Knotfest with Reese in March this year, which is the Slipknot festival for metal music. Fantastic day out, but at around about 4:30 or so in the day, it started pissing down rain. Like just
It
real
was earlier than that.
earlier.
Yeah.
It was whatever it was. And me and my brother conveniently made the choice that we were going to go watch the wrestling because the wrestling was under a little tent and it was just some of the local guys that were wrestling and stuff. And I was like, I'll just go see who's here, whatever. And I'm sitting at the table and then they announced the first match and it was Robbie Eagles versus. And I was like, hey, this is Robbie Eagles. And so he came out and then like stood up on the table where I was sitting and just said, yeah, Robbie Eagles. I gave him a high five and he ran in the ring. Really cool match to the left. And then as he walked out, I had a little chat to him before he went out. And like, it's so cool watching someone of that quality of wrestling. I couldn't tell you the name of the guy he versed. No idea. But he gave him 7 or 8 minutes. Pretty decent match.
Name was awesome, I bet.
Yeah. And he
The
made
Eagles way.
And, you know, that's a guy that's travelled around the US and New Japan and everywhere across the world. It's what did we forget his name was? The Limb Reaper?
The Limb Reaper.
It's a good little name.
Sniper of the
I like that.
Skies and Limb Reaper. Yeah.
So go have a look. There's definitely one from, it's him versus Will Ospreay from a PWG wrestling event in Sydney a couple of years ago. That's a match to go see. That was really good. So Robbie Eagles is my guy.
And just to note on that, last Slam show that they had last weekend, they did stream it live. So hopefully they'll do the same for the December show.
Yes.
When we find that out, we'll let people know. We can tune into our local wrestling.
And we've already got our tickets, so we will be there and
And we will
come back
be
and
square.
report on it, I can tell you. So, yeah, spoiler alert, my choice is Slex. Thanks, Dan.
You are.
Slex the business, Aussie wrestler. I believe he's done a little bit of wrestling in Japan, but unfortunately COVID got in the way of when he first got over there. But he's been doing a lot of wrestling in Australia, all up and down the East Coast. He's based in Melbourne, I know that much. And obviously, the only matches I've actually seen live are with Slam in Canberra. And the matches I've seen him in, every single one of them has been absolutely tops. Not only do I really appreciate him, my girlfriend really loves him. A little bit too much.
A little bit too much.
Just a little bit. I'm sure anyone who doesn't know who Slex is, just go on Instagram. You'll see why.
But don't look at pictures with his hair. He doesn't have hair anymore.
Oh, I'm not a fan of the shaved head, but I don't want to say a bad thing because I really like him, all right?
I really like him.
Because business is booming.
Yeah,
Business is booming.
booming.
You can't. He puts on a great match whoever he goes up against. My favorite match, hands down, was his title match against Mikey Broderick at Slam for the no DQ. And really funny story there. That was actually the first local or first wrestling show that my partner ever went to. We've been watching, obviously on TV and Smackdown and Raw and everything. And I convinced her to actually come along to the live show. And once again, she was quite skeptical and, I don't know. And I remember specifically that match. The finish was Mikey Broderick superplexing from the turnbuckle, Slex through a table that had a trash can on top of it.
Ooh.
Absolutely awesome finish. And I remember turning around after the 3 count had happened, and there was my girlfriend on her phone already buying tickets for the next show. So that just tells you how good he puts on a show. So, no, I think, if you see him on the card at any show nearby, don't hesitate. Go check him out. Follow him on social media and really support these local wrestlers and buy their merch too. That's one big thing I've got to say is when you're there, if you like them, buy a shirt, buy a sticker, do something.
ProWrestlingTees.com, I think it is.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
There's a
the
plug. But make sure you support them. So yeah, Slex the business. He's the one that's really stood out for me. Every card that he's on, it gets me super
Yeah,
excited.
he was starting to get a run in Impact as well before COVID happened. So
Oh,
hopefully big things back on the horizon for him.
Hopefully so,
Definitely
man.
deserves
I
it.
really hope so because he definitely deserves it. So, and now Reese. So it was back in June.
It was too long ago that I've got notes on the side of what happened. So just forgive me.
We'll allow that. But Impact in the town so nice, they named it twice. Oh, Wagga Wagga.
Wagga Wagga.
Interesting location.
Yeah. I initially heard rumblings ages ago, start of the year, maybe late last year. New Japan Pro Wrestling was going to be coming over, and they were going to be doing a show at Wagga. But something happened there. New South Wales government chipped in and helped bring Impact over. So
That's
as soon as I heard Impact was coming over, I was like, yep, I'm there. I'm not going to lie, I've been on the fringe of Impact. There's not been a time where I've been watching week to week of it, but I've always kept visibility of what's happening in that space.
Yeah.
So not very many opportunities we get to have overseas companies come over.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, look how long it's been since WWE came over, 2018, 2019 or something.
And I missed that, and I'm kicking myself to this day, man.
So it's been a while. So I jumped right on Impact. Fantastic show. It was a long, boring drive out there, but I feel like the show paid off for it. So I'm just going to quickly run through the card, and then I'll talk about my highlights. Kicking off the show, we had Adam Brooks, who I'd never heard of before, versus Robbie Eagles. Your boy, Robbie Eagles. I was not cheering for Robbie in this instance.
Okay, fair enough.
So this was for the Oceania Pro Wrestling Championship, which is their, I think OPW is going to be like that Raw sort of wrestling promotion.
Okay. Under TNA.
No, Australian.
Oh, okay, right.
So 2 Australians going for the championship.
Cool.
Robbie Eagles lost, which I was happy about because I really like the look of this new guy, Adam Brooks. New to me. If you know about him, let us know. Give us some matches to watch. We'll check out.
Something to look out for.
Hopefully, in Slam one day. I wouldn't be mad about that.
I'd be surprised if he didn't.
Yeah. Speaking of Slam, next match on the card. The Natural Classics, our Slam Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions, versus the Velocities.
Also been in Slam.
Yeah. Fantastic match. That was probably the best match I've seen for both of those teams.
Okay.
Even better than the one they had at Slam.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that was for the titles.
It
right?
was, and it was a good
Here's
match.
my thing. The Velocities, they're 2 little short, stocky guys, kind of lucha libre sort of shtick. Not a fan. I don't like it. They got some good high
I'll
spots.
tell you who is a fan.
But like
Kingsley.
the whole. We'll let Dan talk about that later.
That's another episode.
That's a great thing, not
Another-
me.
Yeah. Another episode.
But yeah, the whole like underdog thing that they do with the velocities, they did too much with Ray. Like watching that growing up, and I'm not a huge fan of the whole underdog story anymore. Like for little small guys going against bigger guys, but in this instance, the match was absolutely fantastic.
Awesome.
Our tag champs got the victory, which was also good because I was one of the very few people cheering them on.
Which tends to happen.
Yeah.
Next on the card, digital media champion Joe Hendry versus Moose. Now, Moose was one of the main draws that I was hoping would come over.
Yeah.
Thank God that he did. My highlight for this match, they'd gone on to the outside to do a segment, and Joe Hendry is slamming Moose's head on the apron.
Yeah.
He did it 10 times.
You mean the hardest part of
It is the hardest part of the ring.
Did you
Oh
know?
my god.
It's the hardest part of the ring.
Absolute madness.
Did he die?
No, he's fine.
Oh, okay.
But like the way that he was just progressively selling those bumps more and more. So he'd hit his head, go in for the second one, his arms would kick back at him. Third one, he'd start kicking up his legs to the point where he'd just like be doing handstands on the apron for 9 and 10. Oh, absolutely fantastic. Whole crowd cheering,
He
laughing.
was doing the old Shawn Michaels Hogan
Oversell.
stuff.
The oversell.
Okay, awesome. We love a good
But yeah,
Hogan stuff.
unfortunately for me, Moose did not win the championship.
Oh.
But given what Impact's got going on at the moment, he's teaming with Brian Myers. They're doing a whole shtick tag team at the moment, so made sense Moose wouldn't get a singles championship because I don't think it's happened yet. There's the potential for Moose and Brian Myers to go for the tag titles and win them.
Dude, how did they not have Impact in Canberra so Moose could get loose at the Moose?
So for those who don't know, we have a nightclub here called.
Oh, everybody knows. Everybody who's come to Canberra and is of drinking age knows the Moose.
Think of the people who haven't been to Canberra.
Oh,
Our
it's-
new viewers
Oh, right.
coming in.
They should come here.
Or not. But no, come
But actually don't get loose at the Moose.
in December for this Slam Pro Wrestling show.
Yes, you should. Come to
We'll
Canberra.
be there signing autographs.
Hopefully.
What do you mean? Like, hopefully we'll be there, or hopefully signing autographs?
I'll be paying
Got
you.
it.
I'll be paying you to take my autograph.
100%. All right, next on the card, Eddie Edwards versus your boy Slex.
Oh, Eddie Edwards. That's a
We had
good
a
name.
lot
That's a solid
of
name.
representation on this card, and I was absolutely chuffed for it.
And how did we go? I need to know.
No surprise, yeah. Slex lost. It's Eddie Edwards we're talking about.
Yeah.
Former
business
two-time
wasn't booming.
Impact World Champion. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's 2-time.
Good match?
Yes, good match. Slex.
Like I told you. See?
I said, that boy Slex, man, he puts on the performances. Moving down the card. First women's match of the night.
Yep.
There are only two. This was the first one. Steph DeLander versus Killer Kelly.
Oh, okay.
So I've been following Killer Kelly for a lot of years. So I was actually not cheering Steph with her being the Australian. But she came out and did the whole thing. Oh, why did they bring me to Wagga Wagga? This place sucks. Yada, yada, yada.
I mean, she's not wrong.
Well, yeah, she's right. But also, like, she was trying to be the heel. And it worked because everyone started booing her, even though she's Australian. Yeah, Killer Kelly.
Can I just say, I do not endorse my partner's words and thoughts on the wonderful town of Wagga Wagga.
So
it's
we
an
said
amazing
to us
place.
offline.
And what are you talking about, man? Come on, dude.
It
I
only
love
sucked
Wagga
because I
Wagga.
had to drive like 3.5 hours to get there. I could have just driven half an hour if they had brought it to Canberra.
Or not driven at all. Get an Uber. Get on.
too.
Or a
I
light rail.
drove there, and then
Anyway.
everyone else driving home.
To lovely people of Wagga Wagga, we love you.
We apologise.
It's okay. It's just
Apologise unreservedly. 1,000 pardons.
gentle insults.
That I stole that
Don't
from
be
my friend
cruel.
Joel, by the way. 1,000 pardons. It's not my saying. I'm sorry, Joel. Love you. 1,000 pardons. Please continue.
All right, so I was really keen to see Killer Kelly. I'd seen her a bit when she was in NXT. Been following her a bit through the Impact stages and all the other indie promotions that she's been doing as well. I was pumped. Her outfit was on point. That's all I'm going to say. If you guys want to
Oh.
go hunt for some picks,
I think we both
that's
know what
up
that
to
means.
you guys. Steph DeLander ended up winning the match.
Oh, okay.
Which good for her.
Yep.
Another Aussie winning in an Australian show for an overseas promotion.
Fantastic. Impact.
Was good
Putting the Aussies over.
Yeah, good match. Next on the card, Brian Myers versus Frankie Kazarian.
Oh!
Now, I got to tell you, having Frankie Kazarian on the bill,
Yeah.
when they announced that he was coming down, I was like, oh, Oh my,
He was the old suicide in TNA, wasn't he?
one of them, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there was Christopher Daniels and
And Austin Aries.
Austin.
Fun fact, met him on the Jericho cruise, actually.
Frankie.
Yeah, he was there.
Nice.
Good guy.
Him and Brian put on an absolutely fantastic match. Yes. I was sure that Frankie won, and he did,
Yeah.
which was good. Excuse me. It's been a
You're fanboying. You're fanboying. It's okay.
So, first of two main events that we had.
Ooh, 2 main events.
So we had the Impact World Champions, ABC, Ace Austin and Chris Bay of the Bullet Club.
Oh, yep.
So, not really up on them prior to the show, but bit of a fan afterwards. They put an absolutely stellar show. The story that they told with their opponents, Motor City Machine Guns, who I was also really keen to announce for the show, who are the Impact World Champion Alex Shelley,
Yep.
well, maybe former by now, and X Division Champion Chris Sabin, who is actually the former champion.
So those are two names that I remember from watching in TNA.
Yeah,
10
and
years
the fact that they were brought down here as the tag team, even though they're two
Yeah.
singles wrestlers, I think it was an excellent touch by Impact doing that for the fans.
Yeah.
Because the match was probably my favorite match of the night. I think it was a good 20, 25 minutes. Solid storytelling all the way through as well. And Alex Shelley and
Chris Sabin.
Chris Sabin, sorry. Forgive me.
You were the one that was there, but don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's fine. I got you.
They did not get the win.
He was at the main event, man. I think he'd had a few drinks by this time. Let's ease off, all right?
Don't even get me started on
They
that.
were mid-street.
There was nothing.
What do you mean? there's nothing?
Oh,
It was an alcohol-free show.
No.
Here
Even Wagga.
I was. I had two
Have you been for real?
double-strength ginger beers
Yeah.
in like 500ml bottles.
Yeah.
Two of them prior to the show because I was like,
Yeah.
tonight's going to be
Dude, that just proves that Americans really do think that we're massive pissheads. They were so scared that you guys were going to get on it and give them the big boot that they didn't even give you alcohol at the event. That is so un-Australian
I'm not going to lie.
and un-wadja-wadja.
By the time that tag championship match finished, I was tired because I'd gotten my buzz. I was up on a high,
And then
and I had
come
nothing
down.
to help continue that.
Here's
Why?
me being like, I'll go to the next Impact show.
Well, not if it's in Wagga Wagga.
Not if there's no alcohol, mate. Pre-drink. I need at least one beer, man. Come on, where whistle.
A couple would have kept me.
Sorry, we've gotten really distracted by that. It's a bit of a revelation there.
Well, like we're Australians. We need this.
We get passionate.
Main event of the evening. Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo versus Giselle Shaw. I was not familiar with Giselle
I
Shaw.
never heard of either of those people's names.
Deonna Purrazzo, again, used to be on NXT. Believe she was in the Mae Young Classic as well.
Okay.
So go back, revisit some of that stuff. Good wrestler. They didn't do enough with her. Her best work has been since she went to Impact. She's been knockout champion, I think, twice now, but like very lengthy reigns as well. So they show her as a really dominant female competitor, which is absolutely fantastic. The story that these two did for it, you probably don't know, but Deonna Purrazzo's thing, she's
None of us know. That's why you're telling us.
her finisher is the armbar, the Fujiwara armbar.
Okay.
So the whole story there was Giselle working
Working
the
the
arm,
arm the whole time.
of course.
Yeah.
But it was told to perfection. Deonna ended up coming back using the other arm single-handed to do the Fujiwara armbar.
Good story.
And did
Okay.
the full bend over
Yeah.
for the submission to win the match. And then as a little post-show thing after they went off the air, Deonna did a little promo, hyping up the crowd. Do you want us to come back? Yada, yada, yada. So hopefully
Bring beer next time.
what is the Impact Commissioner? What's his name?
I don't know, man. You're the Impact pro for us.
Oh,
Good.
I guess my main question, out of 10, how would you rate the show?
solid 8.
Solid 8. That's awesome.
Yeah.
8's good. That's good. Especially in the great town of Wagga.
Wait.
With no beer. And the fact that you're rating it an 8 when there's no alcohol,
Well-
that would have scored a 10, right?
I got to let that slide.
12.
12.
Fun
If there was
fact,
alcohol.
the Impact show, Impact Down Under, both nights are on Fight TV. So if you
Yeah,
want
you
to
can watch it
spend
and
the
check
money,
it out.
you can go watch it.
You can see Reese getting really.
I was actually on the hard cam side.
Right.
So,
Oh.
Yeah.
Were you wearing a beanie or what were you wearing? Do you remember?
no, I was wearing my cool, like, half-coloured
I'm gonna go look.
Oh, your jacket.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
good for you,
jacket.
man.
It's a re-staple.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's awesome, dude. And
Yeah.
yeah, again, a little bit jealous that I didn't get to go. Well, I mean, I don't watch Impact, same as you, Dan. I don't really watch it, but any wrestling show that comes, man, you want to try and get to it, but unfortunately, was not able to get there. So if they come again, mate, we'll give it a go. Come again?
Come again,
Come again?
please.
Fantastic. Well, that wraps up all our chat about the state of WWE, AEW, and Australian wrestling at this point in time. I've actually got a little bit of a challenge for you boys to end our podcast today. And it's a new segment, and I'm going to try my amazing editing skills. It's called Wrestler or Politician. So I'm going to read you out some quotes.
Okay.
And I need you guys to guess whether it was said by a wrestler or a politician. I'm not going to be really hard on you and tell me who said it. I just want you to tell me whether it was a
I was about to ask. Can we
Do we get bonus points though?
I mean, yeah, okay. If you want to have a go at who said it, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Fantastic,
using your
you get
laptop
bonus
to
points.
look it up, Dan.
No, I won't check.
Well,
Promise.
what I do need you to do, though, because I feel like if I do them one at a time and get your answers one at a time, it might make it a bit easier for you. So what I need you to do, I'm going to read all three, and then we're going to go through the answers at the end. So I need you to write down or type down what your thoughts are and
Right.
your answer is.
I mean,
on
fire
each
up.
one. So let's get into the magical world of my laptop here, and let's get some quotes going. So the first quote I have for you guys. Sorry, losers and haters, but my IQ is one of the highest, and you all know it. Please don't feel so stupid or insecure. It's not your fault.
Okay.
Down your answers.
Okay. All right.
We good?
Yeah. Next one.
And if you want, go for bonus points.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I am.
Go for bonus points.
I am.
Number 2. I don't go to this guy's job and tell him when the fries are done.
that sounds familiar.
I know who said that.
Oh, we're going for bonus points.
Yep.
We ready?
I get nothing for bonus points.
Now, bear with me. This last one's a little bit long.
Politician.
A big book is like a serious relationship. It requires commitment. Not only that, but there's no guarantee that you will enjoy it or that it will have a happy ending. Kind of like going out with a girl, having to spend time every day with her, with absolutely no guarantee of nailing her in the end. No thanks.
Okay.
No, I'm sticking with it.
The last one's thrown me, but
Oh, okay. Oh. Well, bonus points might help you here.
yeah, no.
Bonus points might help
All right.
you here.
All right, let's go.
All right, so the first quote.
Do you want to just repeat it? Just
Okay, sure. Let's do it. Sorry, I'll refer back to the screen. We'll go back. First quote. Sorry, losers and haters, but my IQ is one of the highest, and you all know it. Please don't feel so stupid or insecure. It's not your fault. Everybody's favorite. What do we got?
I regret my decision, but I went with pro wrestler and I went with Gene Snitsky.
I went with politician as Donald Trump.
Mr. Daniel Danielson gets 2,000 points.
2000, no.
Hey, I make up the rules of this show. It was Mr. Donald Trump. It was a Twitter quote from back in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounded like a Trumpism.
Well, I don't know, man. He
The whole
has been in
Snitsky
Red Bull.
thing, it wasn't my fault. And that,
Yeah.
I just realised I might actually get a few hits in the comments about this because technically he's been in the wrestling, hasn't he? He was in wrestling.
yeah, I would put him as a politician.
I mean, Bobby Lashley wrestled on his behalf, right? So he didn't wrestle. So
He's in the Hall of Fame, isn't he not?
yeah, he's in the Celebrity Hall of Fame. All right, quote number
we all
2.
know that means a lot in this business.
I know, right? Quote number 2. I don't go to this guy's job and tell him when the fries are done. Daniel. you go first.
I know who it is, so honestly.
Oh, you know who it is.
I don't know who it is, but it was a pro wrestler.
It's Triple H.
It is Triple H. It was
He was
Taboo
talking to
Tuesday.
a crowd member, wasn't
He
he?
was.
It was Taboo Tuesday in 2005, responding to the fact that it was announced that the crowd would be selecting who his opponent would be at Taboo Tuesday. So, yep, there you go.
Right.
Daniel, mate, you're on fire here. You need to get this wrong, and you need to get this right to tie it up for
You can't. Yeah.
All right, so the final quote, bear with me, we might go over time. A big book is like a serious relationship. It requires commitment. Not only that, but there's no guarantee that you will enjoy it or that it will have a happy ending. Kind of like going out with a girl, having to spend time every day with her, with absolutely no guarantee of nailing her in the end. No thanks.
So I think it's a wrestler. I could think of somebody who it was, so I've written down MJF, but I'm not sold on that.
Okay, and what about you?
I'm going to go with pro wrestler as well.
It is a pro wrestler. I think you're both going to be very shocked as to who it was. Mr. Mick Foley.
What?
I believe it's an excerpt from his book or one of his books.
So it wasn't even done in pro
Well,
wrestling.
come on, man. He's a wrestler.
He's a pro wrestler.
I know, but I was thinking like,
Mate, you won. What are you complaining about?
Yeah. I should be the one complaining.
I'm
And
just
that's it for wrestler or politician.
all right. Let's see if that segment stays. Look, well,
No. Something different, but I like the
It
premise.
was my first try, man, and gave it a go. And it doesn't have to be politicians. Next time we might go for something else.
Disruptive.
Maybe in the comments, let's give your ideas as to who you want at wrestlers or what's the next or. We've had politician. Who should we compare to next? Thank you,
Wrestler
Mr. Daniel
or
Danielson.
sports entertainer.
That's the same thing.
Not in the AEW.
well,
Thank you, Mr. Daniel Danielson. Thank you, Mr. Rowdy Roddy Reese, artist formerly known as Central Chocolate. I am Booker Ted. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us around the pool table of relevancy here in Madison Square Garage. Please like and subscribe. As we said before, give us all your feedback in the comments. We'd like to hear from you. And we'll see you next time, guys.
Ciao.
peace out.